Hey Petra, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Petra Cullen. I'm 15 years old, and I'm an actress, a scholar, and an athlete.
All right. And so I'm sure I've told you about this before, but this podcast is about sort of the mental health, sort of mind experiences of competitors across the country. And I just sort of want to bring to light all these experiences and sort of come up with solutions to these sort of problems or issues, if that's what you want to call them, and possibly help future or current competitors be able to deal with those things by watching this podcast. So if you want to share anything, you can. And yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah, definitely. I think because I participate in many different types of competitions between my sports, I play lacrosse and I'm on the swim team. And I also do mock trial, which is something I'm very passionate about. And those competitions, they take a long time to prepare for, whereas I think sports games take not as much time. There's a little more turnover in between, and you get a lot more done during a season. But with mock trial, it's like everything you prepare for goes into one thing. And I think with between those two different kinds of things, there are different levels of stress and preparedness, whereas and also like even preparing for like a test at school, it there are all different ways to prepare for all the different types of things. And yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to kind of take a generalized view of like all the competitions you're looking at, or do you want to sort of uh, maybe look at one competitive activity you're part of and then talk about those experiences?
Yeah, definitely. I think I can do it piece by piece. As I just said, they are all different. um for mock trial, for one, it's you have few there's a season every year, and the season isn't very long. It only lasts about 5 months, and you are given a case to prepare for. And then at the end of the season, you do a huge competition. And they have different levels. Obviously, you have your regional competition, your state competition, and your national competition. And I actually happen to be the team captain of my middle school team. And every year we went to the state competition. And along the way, there's in the moment stress, I think, that you can have, and then there's stress that you can have while preparing for the main goal. And so in the moment, you're in a mock trial competition, you are not competing the entire time, but you might be a part of the competition, if that makes sense, the entire time. And so I think for me personally, my stress was only whenever I was right before and right after I was competing. But in the moment, I think all my stress went away because I was confident in my preparedness and how much I knew exactly what I was doing, and I'd worked for that goal. And different things, just working on breathing in the moment, and then outside of the moment, visualizing your success, I think is a huge thing for me. Just being able to think about it and go into it knowing that I could see my success. And then for smaller things like lacrosse games or triathlons, I do a few of those. Um, you go into it, and obviously you have support, and your team is there for both mock trial and lacrosse and swim. And I think that's also another big part of it, the people that you surround yourself with a competition, because that can make or break your experience. And I think experience is a huge part of competing. And with lacrosse games and such, after, like I said before, when you're prepared and you've worked on things that you know you needed to tweak or you needed to fix to make yourself better each time, I think you can definitely see those results. And that helps you with your determination, your perseverance, and things like that.
Yeah, those are all very great points you made and things that I completely agree with, especially the part where you said the people you surround yourself with can make or break your experience. I know people that personally, like me or you, that have surrounded themselves with people that are supportive, encouraging, and then I know people that maybe hung out with people that were not so encouraging, and no matter how hard they tried, that negativity always brought them down because they weren't confident in themselves. So that's definitely one point to raise. And then one thing you said was uh, the moments where you felt the most stress were right before. I guess when you went to your turn for a mock trial is what I think you said, and then right after. I can relate with right before because it's like, yeah, it's like you're about to uh you're about to do what you were preparing for that entire time. And you see, like, if you're not the first person to go, you see everybody else's projects and you're thinking about, is mine going to be better than theirs? Like, oh my God, this thing that they did was so much more better than mine. But one unique thing that I haven't really heard is that you feel stressed right after. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, first, just going back to the people you surround yourself with. In my experience, my middle school mock trial team, I think the people that we were surrounding ourselves with were equally as passionate as I was about the competition and the activity, and even just working towards it. We wanted to do it every day, all day. And I think now that I'm in high school, I think it's a different atmosphere, and the people maybe aren't as willing to prepare, or maybe not as passionate as I am still. And so that definitely brings you down as a person and as a team. And so that is definitely something, as I said, people can make or break the experience. And talking about my stress right after, I think for me, obviously the stress, but right before. And then in the moment, because I'm confident, I'm not usually stressed at all. And then right after, because in a mock trial team, you know how you personally did, but you don't know how other people viewed your activity and the way that you performed. And so in a mock trial competition, you have to wait hours before you find out exactly how well you did. And for me, as soon as we finish, I become stressed again because I want to know if we won, or if I did something that might have brought us down as a team or built us up. And so I think my stress doesn't completely go away until maybe an entire day after I'm finished competing.
Okay. From that, I noticed a couple of things, and one of them was, tell me if I'm wrong, but like, even because I'm assuming this mock trial thing was the experiences you're talking about were in middle school, right?
I have high school mock trial experiences as well.
Okay, but these also happen in high school, like the stress after.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Um, so do you find, like, even just outside of competitions or even in competitions, do you find that uh even if you have your own personal opinion of like how you did yourself, that you often have to kind of wait for somebody else to recognize that like their opinion matches with yours to feel like fully confident? Because I can tell you're very confident just from yourself, like in the moment, no stress. That's really hard to do. um Personally, I was able to do that with spelling because I was really passionate about it and I only thought about the word while I was spelling. But I know people that get really stressed like in the moment. um but I'm kind of getting a sense here that like the stress after is a result of you kind of um need that like outside opinion and the inside opinion to sort of match. And when you can sense that like matching, then your stress goes away. But until that point where you don't know like where on the scale somebody's opinion is, that like sort of possibility of a difference sort of makes you stress. This is kind of what I'm.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, like about the validation that you receive after the competition. But I think after you're finished, how well you did, and you can have your own sense of that. But in the end, it doesn't matter how you felt. It only matters what the judges felt about your competition and about your performance. And after you know how you felt, I mean, you can say that like you can feel for yourself whether you felt the judges were wrong about your performance, or maybe they didn't see the way that you were trying to portray your role, or it didn't really come across to them the way it came across to you. But even if you are completely confident and you thought you did amazing, it in the end you might not have that same reward, I guess, is the way this I'm trying to say. Because you can know for yourself, but nothing's going to come out of it, if that makes sense. Like, once you find out what the judges thought of your performance, you are able to work off of that and build yourself up based off of that, even though you already know for yourself what you think.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then that brings me to another point. Do you think, in a way, competition sort of can kill confidence like that? Like if you're, um, and this is just like a personal question. There's no like yes or no answer based on like what you think. Like you were describing, you can be super confident in your project, and obviously, like if you're not like arrogant, you're gonna recognize there's some flaws in your project, but you might be super confident in your project, and then uh, a judge might say that you got a much lower score. And even though they can provide like constructive criticism and feedback, and you recognize that you have to work harder, that sort of disparity in your sense of confidence in your project and what the outside world is telling you about your project, personally, I think that would kill my confidence a bit and tell me to rely on other people's opinions, and that I'm not allowed to sort of believe in my own thing because my views are sort of flawed or whatever. And then later in life, this might not like apply to everybody that does mock trials, but later in life, what people often feel from that is like, even when there are things that nobody are supposed to judge, um, or things that you're supposed to depend on yourself for an opinion, people often like seek an outside opinion for something, and that sometimes might end up in like an unhealthy decision or things like that. And so that's kind of like the track that I'm seeing from competitions like mock trial or something. Because personally, thankfully, I won the geography B, but I still don't think I should have got that low of a score on my geo challenge, especially because I won. But if I didn't win, that sort of sense of disparity would have definitely killed my confidence later for any type of like higher level thinking, analytical like problems. And I would always have to depend on somebody else's opinion to tell me, hey, is this essay or is this thing good? But now, because I'm confident in myself, I'm able to like do my English things right, and I don't have to really waste the time, energy, or resources to get multiple people to check that. Do you see what I'm kind of saying?
Yeah, I understand. And just for a little bit, I think more background, a mock trial competition, there's three judges and they each score you from 1 to 10. And so whenever you are going, you get your scores back at the end of the competition. And whenever you see 10, 10, 10, 10, and then maybe a six, and then you're like, oh no, why did that judge give you a six? But because you got tens everywhere else, it doesn't kill your confidence because it's just one person's opinion. But I think that if you had maybe like seven, seven, six, eight, then you're like, oh, maybe I definitely did something wrong. I was definitely not as good as I thought I was. And obviously, that is something that could kill your confidence for future things. But I think it all depends on the scale and the relativity of the other people's opinions, because as you said, I am a very confident person, I think. And I think in day-to-day things, I don't care about other people's opinions, and I'm going to do what I think is best for myself. But just in competitions like that, or like in lacrosse, um you can see for yourself, and it doesn't matter what other people's are, because you obviously have the ref as replacement as the judge for mock trial. But if you score in the end, you know that you did something right. It doesn't matter what the referee thinks. And so just that, obviously, if someone tells you that you did a horrible job, it's going to kill your confidence. But it might just be for a second, because you know that you can just build it back up, because you know your own skill level.
Yeah, so I think the important thing to take from sort of the confidence thing is that despite anybody's outer opinion, you should still have your inner confidence, but you shouldn't let that take over your project. Like, you should take other people's feedback and things into account if they're telling you maybe you should try something, but you shouldn't let either your opinion or their opinion sort of dictate what you're going to do. Rather, it should be your confidence that lets you do that, because being confident in yourself doesn't necessarily mean um, not following other people's feedback. Because if you're confident that that's going to work, that's being confident in yourself. If you're confident that somebody else's feedback is useful, then you're still being confident in yourself. So that's actually a lot of people struggle with this in any competition. Uh, Basically, what I'm trying to say is you should always have that 100% confidence in yourself, self-value, self-esteem, self-worth. That should always be up there, but don't let that take over what you're going to do. And don't let somebody else's opinion of you take over what you're going to do. Always have confidence in what you believe and what you value. Um, because like majority doesn't necessarily mean the right thing to do, as we see in like I guess any like oppressive regimes, like or like even slavery. A lot of people thought slavery was right, but it's really not. And
Hmm.
so you should always value your own beliefs and things, but always at least try to take other people's feedback into account. And one thing that people don't realize is that they sort of make like a line between their own view of something and other people's view of something. But sometimes there's like an overlap. And even if initially you think that somebody else's like criticism or things is leading you on a completely different path, in the end, I think they're trying to reach the same vision that you are trying to reach, but just as a different angle. So basically just have your own confidence. Don't let don't let anything kill your confidence. Rather, believe in things that you would believe in and use that with your confidence. And then that leads to believing in yourself, but also not blocking off everybody's like opinions, because uh, they're obviously going to be good for you. And so that's like my whole summary take on that, I guess.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, especially when they're skilled in the area that you're competing in, or that you want to become more knowledgeable of, other people's opinions can be very valuable. And I think that goes back to, the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah, definitely. That does go back to the people that you surround yourself with. And so that kind of stress of what's after the competition, if you think like that, then that should be a good way of like stopping that stress right then and there and not letting it, kind of radiate even past the results of the competition. Because I know people that will have that sort of after stress, but then even after the results, be disappointed in themselves, which, uh, first of all, you shouldn't be disappointed, because the reason you're going to that competition is to learn how to be better. And you should be grateful for the feedback that you get, because if you weren't going to fail, then you wouldn't have learned anything. And I feel like when somebody who learns is much more successful than somebody who doesn't, because that shows that they're actively engaged in the world and want to become better. And so having that sort of confidence in yourself that you're good before and after, and that you can take somebody's opinions and make yourself better with them, will like kind of limit that stress to just worrying about the results, I guess, which is completely normal to worry about the results. I don't think you can just like not care about the results, because then that means you don't care about the competition. But limiting that sort of stress to just when the results come out, and then not letting that get past you and just focusing on making yourself better because you're confident about yourself, that's probably the key to stopping the stress right then and there.
I agree. I agree. And I think everything is obviously an experience. And I think experiences are very important to me and to everybody because they help you. They learn, you can learn from your mistakes, you build yourself up, and you become better in the future because of that.
Yeah. Well, I think I touched on everything so far. Is there anything else you want to say about your experiences in competitions?
I think that's it, just the people, your experiences, and, your inner confidence.
Yeah. All right. So I guess sort of a short summary is surround yourself with good people that will lift you up, but will also not be fake and just say everything that you're doing is good, and that will actually give you feedback to kind of get you closer to your vision or your goal. And don't let that destroy your confidence, because what you have to learn is that confidence is not believing in your own opinions, it's believing in yourself. And when you believe that somebody else's opinions will better you, that's still believing in yourself, and that's confidence. So, yeah. All right. Thank you, Petra. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.